Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a furniture makeover, and then I'm going to bring you to my booth with me while I bring this furniture piece in and give it a refresh. So if that's something that you're interested in, then let's get started. I found this dresser on the side of the road in my neighborhood, and I scooped it up and I brought it home. It needs a lot of TLC. The top piece, my husband and I actually lifted up by accident when we were moving it, so we just have to fix that. But this has a lot of random paint and markers on it. That white stuff isn't actually paint, it's sticky. I'm not sure what it is. And whoever did finish this, I'm not really sure what kind of paint they used. The top here is the paint is just scraping off. They definitely didn't use any primer or scuff sand. And the top also is like that wood laminate. So that could also be a reason why the paint just wasn't adhering, because they didn't prime it as well. So to fix the top of the dresser, my husband just put wood glue into each corner here so that we could place the dresser back into place, and then clamp it together and let it sit overnight. So this won't go anywhere anymore. The wood glue is holding it back into place. So like I said, I let it sit overnight, and then from there I contemplated what I was going to do. I had a vision and I ended up taking it in a different direction, kind of like all of my furniture pieces, it seems like lately. But I knew that I needed to get as much of the paint off as possible. So I'm using the Citrus Strip stripper for the paint. I've only used this one other time. I will say that I did not do a thick enough coat. Next time I will definitely apply more of this citrus strip to this area. I live in Florida and it dries really, really fast. I mean, it is the middle of the summer here, and before I could even put the saran wrap over top, it was starting to dry. But I did put the saran wrap on the top of the dresser after I applied the citrus strip so that it would hopefully lock in the citrus strip and let it process a little bit longer. I let it sit for about 30 minutes before I started to scrape it. So it doesn't really look like it's working very well here, but it actually ends up working really, really well on the top. Again, this piece was, or the top is not real wood. It's not even um, like a particle board, or not particle board, plywood. It's like I said, the wood laminate. So once I started scraping, it came off in like globs. It's kind of satisfying to watch. Um, so the top came off really easy, and to help clean up those little bits and pieces you can see like on the like the edges, I ended up just using a toothbrush that I had a bucket of Palmolive and water, and I just cleaned it up that way. And I was able to get rid of all of that blue paint on the top without having to sand it off. I did sand later on, which I'll show you, but it came off really easy. So when I realized that the top of this piece wasn't real wood, I wasn't going to be able to sand the top layer off to do the two-toned look that I like, because I wanted to stain the top of this and paint the rest of the dresser. So I ended up scratching that plan, and I decided I was going to paint the top. So my next plan was to strip just the paint off of these dresser drawers so I could stain the dresser drawers, which are real wood, and then paint the rest of the dresser. Well, I did the top two drawers and I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to leave it at this. So what I ended up doing with this dresser drawer here is I'm sanding it as best as I can right now, and then I applied the stripper and let it sit for 30 minutes and then peeled it off, and it came off so much easier. The first dresser drawer I did not sand it first, and I just used the stripper, and it was a lot more difficult. I had to scrub it with the toothbrush and sand it even more. So I definitely thought it was a lot easier to sand and then apply the stripper. Here, like I was saying, I just used the toothbrush and I was able to get the rest of the paint off. And then I sanded the top two drawers really, really well so that I could stain them. Because of the piece right here that I'm washing, like that partition, I thought it would be nice to paint the bottom 3 and then just stain the top 2 since I had that piece right there. So once I got the stripper off of what I wanted to, I gave this entire dresser a thorough cleaning, and I even vacuumed in the inside the dresser drawers there because they were really nasty. So I gave this thing a thorough scrub. I removed all of the drawer handles and then I got ready to paint. So because I didn't know what type of paint this was, I scuff sanded really, really well to make sure that I got a nice, smooth, even coat, especially because part of the paint was peeling up from, like, especially towards the base of the dresser. So I scuff sanded really well. I will link this hand detail sander in my description box. It is a lifesaver. I love it. So um, once I finished scuff sanding it, I realized that the best bet was going to be to prime this piece really well. Again, because I didn't know what type of paint this was, I did not want to have any bleed through, and I was doing a lighter gray color. So I decided that I was going to prime it. And to prime it, I used um, the Zinsser primer, Zinsser primer, and in the white, not the clear. So I gave it a full coverage of the primer on the entire all sides of the dresser, um, the front and the 3 bottom drawers as well as the top. And I let it sit for a couple hours. I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any areas that I needed to respray. But like I said, I did a really good thick coat. So I let that sit and then I was ready to get started with painting. Before I started painting, I did use this super fine sandpaper. It's like 320, I believe. It may be a little bit of a higher grit, just to smooth out the primer. The primer did leave it kind of bumpy, so I definitely wanted to make sure I had the primer very, very smooth so that the paint would also be very smooth. And I am using the Bear Chalk paint in Aged Gray. I have used this on a couple end tables in my booth that have sold, so I figured that I would, paint this piece in that. And I also already had the paint, so I didn't have to go out and buy any. I find it easier to roll the paint on as much as I can, and in the areas that I cannot roll, I will use my little brush. So I did have to do 2 good coats of the paint with the roller and everything else so I could get smooth, even coverage. And it dried really nice and flat and smooth, and I was really, really happy. The prep work is really, really important, especially when you're painting pieces, because you can see those imperfections if you don't prep properly. So um, like I said, this is where I just use my little brush, and I got to painting. I did everything. I think I did one whole coat one day. Actually, I may have been able to do 2 coats on the dresser besides the drawers in one day. So it was really fast. And again, I'm outside in my garage, and middle of summer, this paint dried really, really fast. I'm using the Dark and Decrepit for the top two dresser drawers. I really wanted to try this product since it acts like a stain, and it also is like a sealer as well. So then I didn't have to add any sealer to it. This did take a good 24 hours, if not maybe a little bit more, to fully dry for it to not be tacky in any place. I don't know if it's because of the wood or again because it was outside and just the humidity and everything. I'm not sure if that affected it, but by the time I was done completely with this dresser, the top two drawers were fully smooth, and like I said, not tacky. It was great. So once I let everything dry for a good solid 24 hours, I got to sealing this piece. So because I was using chalk paint, I am using a clear polyacrylic. This is the clear ultra flat, I believe. I didn't really want to shine to it, even though, the polyacrylic does have some type of sheen. I wanted as little sheen as possible. And with the dresser, I did not want to do wax because I, you know, I want to make sure that it has a good hard solid coat on it, in case, someone knocks into it or, people putting stuff on top of a dresser. I wanted to make sure that, there weren't going to be any scuff marks or anything, especially because I wasn't distressing this piece. I didn't want to show any marks. So for the top of this dresser, I did 2 coats of the polyacrylic, and in between the 2 coats, I did use that 320 super fine sandpaper again so that I could buff down any of the raised areas from the polyacrylic. And again, having that nice smooth surface. And then I finished it up with spray painting the original hardware. I really liked the original hardware, and I just sprayed it in the matte black, and then I sealed it with the polyacrylic spray so that it is good to go. I was so torn, and I've always wanted to try this, and I finally did. So I grabbed this wallpaper from Amazon. I will try to remember to link it in the description. It is very affordable, and you do get a lot. They have different size rolls, but it is very affordable, and it was very easy to work with. I have never um, I've never lined any of the furniture pieces before, but I really wanted to do something with this dresser, just to give it a little extra pop, because I don't know, I just felt like it. I felt like this dresser needed it. So I did all of the dresser drawers. The best way I could figure out how to do it was to measure inside the first drawer and then cut out my piece and then make sure it fit before I started to attach it. And that worked really, really well for me instead of trying to, cut the whole piece and then try and smooth out the sides to figure out where I needed to cut it. Measuring it worked perfectly fine. And this contact paper was so easy to apply. So I just pulled back a little bit of one side to kind of do like a tester air strip, and then I applied it. I pushed it down, and then I slowly started to roll it out and smooth it out. I used my Cricut, I don't even know what that piece is called, but it's for vinyl, and it worked perfectly fine. A credit card or anything like that would work. A gift card would work perfectly fine too if you had that. So this went super smooth once I figured out how to do it. It didn't really take me that long. I loved this wallpaper, using this wallpaper. I attached the hardware, and then this project is done. Once you see the reveal, then we are going to my booth. All right, so we are now at my booth. I have increased my size just a little bit. I went from a 8x6 to an 8x9 space. Where we are standing right now is where the dining room table and chairs that I did a few videos ago, that's where I had it. I was very, very fortunate to sell it within a week of bringing it in there, which is why I was scrambling to get this dresser done. So we brought the dresser in, and this little black shelving unit is just for display, and I use it for, adding all of my smalls to it. I will say, as of this video, this white hutch has sold. They are coming in a few days to pick it up from my space. So now I am on the hunt for another piece of furniture to put in there. I do have a couple small pieces and tables that I have recently redone that will be going in there. Those will be in a video at some point, but I need to find another larger piece now. So I'm very excited because I love flipping furniture. But when it comes to decorating, I do kind of struggle. Like, I have visions in my head of how I want it to go, and then it never goes according to plan. So I will set some stuff up, and then I will look around and I'm like, no, I like this here better. I'm always just rearranging. I try to think of staging things in threes or fives. I know the odd numbers are like more appealing to the eye. I just kind of wing it, and whenever I go to the booth, which I try and go to the booth twice a month, my booth is about 45 minutes away from my house, so I don't make it down there every weekend, but I do try and go like twice a month. So I always try and rearrange things. Rearranging things is great because you can you may not have a lot of stuff to put in your booth, but if you rearrange, people may think that you have new things there, and then they'll end up buying it, so it's great. But here I am just adding the barcode with the sticker with the barcode on it to all of the new items that I brought down at the same time as the dresser. And I really hope that you guys enjoy this little space, and let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I really hope you enjoyed coming along with me to my booth as I refreshed it. Definitely let me know in the comments what was your favorite thing about this video or your favorite thing in my booth. I have so much fun with this booth, and I really like taking you guys with me, so I do hope you guys enjoy it. If you did like this video and you're looking forward to more videos like this, or just videos in general with furniture flips and DIY projects and all of those in between, then please give this video a thumbs up and please consider subscribing. I love meeting everybody in the comments, so definitely leave me a comment or say hi or an emoji, anything. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye guys.